Hey, what's up, 49ers faithful? You can feel it in the air, that buzz, that energy, that fire coming back to San Francisco. After a few tough weeks, the Niners finally seem to be turning the corner, grinding their way through adversity and proving once again why this team never backs down from a fight. Now, let's talk about what's really happening behind the scenes, because there's a lot to unpack, from George Kittle's impact to the rise of M. Jones, from injury battles to trade whispers that could shake up the league. It's that time of year when contenders separate from pretenders, and the 49ers are clawing to make sure they're on the right side of that line. Coming into that Sunday night showdown, San Francisco was hanging by a thread. Injuries had piled up, the passing game was sputtering, and there was that uneasy feeling that maybe, just maybe, the spark was fading. But that's when you find out what kind of team you've got. According to reports, the coaches were hopeful that the return of George Kittle could steady the ship. He's not just another tight end. He's a tone setter. His energy, his physicality, the way he blocks and bulldozes defenders, it changes the entire personality of the offense. And that was on full display against Atlanta. Kyle Shanahan had a plan, and it was old-school football. Forget fancy schemes, forget trick plays. The idea was simple: run it down their throat. 30 to 40 rushing attempts, straight-up bully ball, daring the Falcons to stop it. They couldn't. San Francisco lined up, punched Atlanta right in the mouth, and kept pounding until that defense cracked. And this wasn't just any defense. Atlanta came into that game ranked among the top units in the league, led by a former Niners assistant who knew the system inside and out. But none of that mattered. The 49ers controlled the line of scrimmage from start to finish. And when you dig into the numbers, you really see how huge George Kittle's presence was. When he was on the field, the Niners averaged more than a yard before contact. That means the offensive line was opening gaps, and Kittle's blocking was creating real space for Christian McCaffrey to do his thing. With Kittle out there, San Francisco racked up over 150 rushing yards, including both of McCaffrey's touchdowns. The moment Kittle stepped off the field, that rhythm disappeared. 6 rushing attempts, barely a dozen yards, a sad 2 yards per carry. That's not just coincidence. That's the effect of having one of the most complete tight ends in football doing the dirty work that doesn't always show up in the stat sheet. So while everyone keeps talking about the passing game being on fumes, I don't fully buy it. Jones has been solid, averaging over 300 passing yards a game since stepping in. He's calm, decisive, and learning Shanahan's complex offense faster than anyone expected. He might not have the flash of Brock Purdy at full strength, but what he's brought is stability. And inside the locker room, people are noticing. The staff reportedly loves how quickly he's picked up the playbook and how he's managing games even with key starters missing. He's earned the respect of that room, and that's no small thing. Speaking of Purdy, his situation is still day-to-day. Turf toe might sound minor, but for a quarterback, it's brutal. One wrong step, and you're right back to square one. Purdy himself admitted it's frustrating, that he's never dealt with something this nagging before. There's no real timetable for his return, which means Jones might continue to steer the ship for now. And honestly, that's fine. The team believes in him, the coaching staff trusts him, and as long as he keeps protecting the football and leaning on that ground game, San Francisco can stay in the fight. The win over Atlanta proved exactly that. It wasn't flashy, but it was tough, physical, and disciplined, the kind of football that defines who the Niners are at their core. Beating a playoff-caliber team by double digits on primetime television sent a message. This team isn't done. They're 5-2 now, right in the mix, and getting healthier by the week. Kittle is back. McCaffrey looks like the best running back in the league again, and there's light at the end of the tunnel with guys like Ricky Pearsall expected to return soon. The locker room feels it. You can see it in the way they celebrate, the way they pick each other up. This group believes. Now, outside the Bay Area, the rumor mill has been spinning like crazy. A lot of talk about San Francisco possibly looking to add another pass rusher before the trade deadline. Maybe someone like Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati. That story caught fire because the 49ers reportedly showed some interest, but with the Bengals heating up and back in the playoff picture, most around the league don't think he's going anywhere. Still, you can't ignore that the Niners are exploring options. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan know this is a championship window. You don't waste years like this. If there's a move that can push them over the top, they'll pull the trigger. And Hendrickson would have been a massive addition, an all-pro caliber pass rusher to line up opposite Nick Bosa. That's a nightmare for any offense. But with Cincinnati back in the race, attention might shift elsewhere. Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans has also been mentioned, though he's more of an interior force than an edge guy. Tennessee looks like a team ready to hit the reset button, and when you've got just one win, nobody's safe. Reports say just a few players there are off-limits, and everyone else could be moved for the right price. San Francisco could be one phone call away from landing someone who instantly elevates their front seven again. Meanwhile, Miami is in chaos. The Dolphins started strong, but have completely unraveled. Their locker room's divided, the players aren't responding to Mike McDaniel, and the losses keep piling up. That's why names like Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips have come up as potential trade targets. Chubb's a veteran with experience, still productive with 4 sacks and plenty of pressures. Phillips, younger and coming off a tough Achilles injury, is starting to look like his old self again. Both would fit perfectly into the Niners' defensive rotation, giving them another weapon to hunt quarterbacks. And if we're dreaming big, you know what would really shake things up? Max Crosby. Yeah, I said it. Call the Raiders. Ask about Max. He's elite, he's relentless, and he's wasting away in a team that's going nowhere fast. Imagine pairing him with Nick Bosa on one side and Arik Armstead collapsing the pocket inside. That's the kind of move that doesn't just help you this season. It changes your defense for years. Crosby fits the Niners culture. Tough, physical, passionate, all business. He's exactly the type of player that could tilt the balance of power in the NFC. The truth is, San Francisco's in that sweet spot. Good enough to contend, but aware that the margin for error is razor thin. One injury, one bad stretch, and things can spiral. But right now, they're 5-2, playing confident and getting healthy. The vibes are different. You can feel it. The crowd at Levi's Stadium feels it. The players know it. The mission hasn't changed, Super Bowl or bust, and the journey's just starting to heat up. When you look around the league right now, the picture is starting to take shape, and it's wild how quickly things can flip in the NFL. Just a few weeks ago, everyone was ready to crown teams like the Chiefs or the Lions as unstoppable, and now suddenly the balance of power feels way more open. That's exactly why a team like the 49ers has to keep their foot on the gas. They've been through this before, the injuries, the criticism, the questions about depth, and yet every time they find a way to fight back. That's what defines this franchise. It's not just about talent. It's about culture. It's about resilience. You can see it in the way they respond after every setback. And speaking of that, let's talk about Jones for a second. This guy came into one of the most complex offensive systems in football and handled it like a pro. Shanahan's offense isn't easy for anyone, not even veterans. It's timing, precision, motion, reading defenses before the snap, executing after it. Jones has done all of that while under pressure, stepping in for Brock Purdy, and still keeping the Niners not just alive, but competitive. Inside the building, people are seriously impressed. Coaches have praised his poise, his preparation, and the way he's earned the respect of that locker room. You can tell his teammates trust him. They rally behind him because he doesn't try to be flashy. He just executes. That's the thing about this team right now. They don't need a superhero. They just need execution. They have enough stars. Christian McCaffrey continues to prove why he's in a league of his own. When he gets even a sliver of daylight, it's over. His vision, his patience, his acceleration, it's poetry in motion. And with George Kittle back sealing the edges, that running game looks lethal again. Shanahan's offense works best when everything is built off that physical ground attack, forcing defenses to bite, and then, boom, play action over the top. When the run game is rolling, the passing lanes open, and that's when San Francisco becomes dangerous. But let's not pretend it's all perfect. There are still questions on the defensive side, especially around depth and pass rush consistency. Nick Bosa has been a monster as always, but you can't rely on one guy to generate constant pressure. That's where someone like Max Crosby or even a rotational edge rusher could make a real difference. John Lynch has never been shy about swinging big when he sees a window. You think about trades like Christian McCaffrey last year. That move changed everything. Don't be surprised if he's dialing phones again, testing the market to see who's available before the deadline. Around the league, the trade buzz is heating up. The Raiders, for example, are falling apart. It's chaos over there. The locker room's broken, the coaching situation's a mess, and they're not even pretending to hide it anymore. A full rebuild seems inevitable. That's why names like Crosby and Jacoby Myers are popping up. For San Francisco, that's where opportunity lives, finding value from teams ready to sell. It's all about timing, and Lynch knows timing as well as anyone. Meanwhile, the AFC North is turning into a war zone. Cincinnati's fighting its way back, Baltimore's struggling to stay healthy, and Pittsburgh keeps winning ugly. Every week something shifts. That's why no one should sleep on what's happening in the NFC. The 49ers might be sitting just behind the Eagles, but the gap is razor thin. A single big move, a hot streak, and suddenly they're right back on top. The interesting thing is that the Niners' mindset hasn't changed through any of this. Shanahan keeps his message consistent. Stay physical, stay disciplined, and trust the process. Even when the offense sputtered, he didn't panic. Against Atlanta, he doubled down on a run game, and it worked. That's what makes this coaching staff so elite. They don't chase trends, they impose their will. They force you to play their style. And when they're clicking, there's not a team in football that wants to line up across from them. Now, if we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you can see the foundation being built for something lasting. The Niners aren't a one-year wonder. They've been knocking on the door for several seasons, and this roster is still loaded with guys in their prime. Fred Warner remains the heartbeat of the defense. Deebo Samuel brings that toughness and swagger that embodies what this team stands for. Even younger players, like Ricky Pearsall, who's getting close to returning, are part of the next wave. That's how you stay relevant in this league. Develop, reload, and never rebuild. As for the injury front, things are finally starting to look better. Purdy's not quite there yet, but he's making progress. Pearsall should be ready soon. The offensive line is getting healthier. It feels like for the first time in weeks, the Niners might have their full arsenal back. And when that happens, when you combine that level of health with their momentum, watch out. They're going to make noise down the stretch. But none of this matters without focus. Shanahan said it best in the locker room after that win. It's 1 week at a time. This league changes fast. 1 week you're on top of the world. The next you're fighting to stay relevant. San Francisco's got to keep the same hunger they showed in that Atlanta game. The chip on their shoulder, the attitude that every play is a battle. Because that's what it's going to take to get through this next stretch. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. San Francisco might be on the brink of a seismic shift in its offensive game, and the rumor mill is spinning faster than ever. Sources close to the team suggest that wide receiver Mike Evans has landed in the Bay Area. And if true, the implications for the 49ers' passing attack could be enormous. While the organization has yet to confirm anything officially, insiders hint that Evans' arrival could immediately transform the team's aerial assault, giving quarterback Brock Purdy a reliable deep threat he's been missing. Evans, known for his combination of size, speed, and hands, has been a consistent weapon in the league for years, and whispers around the NFL indicate that San Francisco's front office pulled out all the stops to make this move happen. Fans are buzzing with speculation. Will Evans become the centerpiece of a new offensive identity? Could his presence elevate the play of the entire receiving core? The chatter suggests that the 49ers see him as more than just a complementary piece. Analysts are already theorizing how Evans could fit into San Francisco's schemes. With his ability to stretch the field, the team might finally unlock a vertical passing game that has felt limited in recent seasons. Teammates have reportedly expressed excitement at the prospect of lining up alongside a player with Evans' experience and track record. Even practice sessions are said to be filled with energy, with younger receivers eager to learn from a veteran of his caliber. Of course, there's always the question of chemistry. Rumors hint that Purdy and Evans have already begun informal sessions to build rapport, suggesting that the integration could happen faster than expected. Meanwhile, social media has exploded with fan reactions, ranging from ecstatic optimism to cautious intrigue. Betting lines and fantasy projections are reportedly shifting in real time, further fueling the buzz. While the official confirmation has yet to land, one thing seems clear. If Mike Evans has indeed arrived in San Francisco, the 49ers' passing game is about to become a headline-grabbing topic. The rumor alone is enough to energize the fan base, and all eyes will be on Levi's Stadium to see if these whispers turn into an on-field spectacle. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.